only been a week, and I don't know about you, but the winning, I'm almost tired of it. No, not really. Not at all. Bring on more winning. Let us feast to our winning with the finest bourbons, whiskeys, meats, and cheeses from all across the land. Let us feast on our implicit bias. I'm your host, Kavan Bordelon. We are a solid, well, not even really 2 weeks into a president-elect. And yes, everyone, not just on your side, we are all winning. Now, what do I mean by that? This is what I mean. We're, as I said, not even a full 2 weeks into this populist movement. And if there's one thing I know, it's that the conversations that we are all having all around the country, even people that don't always agree on political affiliation, those conversations are starting to sound more like a populace agreeing than a populace divided. Now, we'll talk about the division that is there in a minute. It is there, but it's quantifiably a good thing. We'll get to that. Instead, right now, let's talk about the things that most everyone is actually agreeing upon. Let's start here. Food. Very simple. Food. All of us need it. It is the most basic of needs, as a matter of fact, in hierarchies, the hierarchy of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Food in the U.S. now, seemingly everyone has now recognized just how bad our food sources are in general. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what letter is behind your name on your voter registration. It doesn't matter if you are obsessively, compulsively groomed, or if you're wearing a 20-year-old t-shirt you bathed 6 months ago in patchouli oil and you only own a pair of Birkenstocks. We all have this common ground around what we eat. And our desire for it to just be good, clean food, all of us, however, seem to now, unfortunately, have a grip on what we can best describe as we have determined as a fact that our U.S. food supply, or at least a significantly large part of it, might basically be chemically engineered poison. Okay, so food, that's the start. What about the media? Again, you could be fresh out of your limousine walking into your ultra-exclusive racket and golf club, or you could be getting off your horse in rural Montana in the middle of nowhere, sleeping in a tent all night because that's the job you have to work to pay the bills. As much of a social divide as those two people are supposed to have, they both, on what is today, November 15, 2024, realize that basically actually all corporate legacy media, we realize that they're not telling us the story. They're telling us their story. The story they want us to hear, not the story of what's actually happening. It's actually the story they want to happen. That veil has been lifted on many who believed they were the majority because, well, the media told them so. Just as the veil has been lifted off of so many who recognize the brainwashing happening by reporting, guessing at the future, political polls, and masquerading it as news. The brainwashing happening by telling you that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack. The brainwashing by telling us, hey, those people are Nazis. Now, what's great is that you don't just have to ask an R or a D. Ask either one. And almost to a person, they will tell you the media, well, it's pretty much just as corrupt as Washington, D.C., which brings us to the news of actual happenings. We are getting appointments. And that's going to be the new administration. And they are straight fire. Now, some are asking, well, how is everyone winning? We don't like those appointments. We've got some thoughts on that. See, almost all of these picks, almost to a T, almost to a person, they've all said that they have the same desire. And before we get smart quips from the other side of the aisle, and some of those might be deserved, it's not those things. It's something that's really important. They all desire, one, justice. Sure, you're probably thinking that they don't want justice, they want revenge. But we know they don't want revenge. If the populace just wanted revenge, well, we know what a real insurrection would have looked like. Not a bunch of people without guns or weapons. If the side that maybe has all the ammunition actually wanted revenge, we probably would have seen that already. No, justice, to render each his due. And it goes hand in hand with the second thing. Almost all of those appointees have said they want reduced government. See, justice goes hand in hand with this because you've got a lot of people in D.C. who don't want what's best for us. They want what's best for them. It's obvious by the cash flowing out of D.C., like you know what, flowing out of Whoopi Goldberg after she hits an all-you-can-eat Mexican buffet, right? The only thing is what's flowing out of D.C. is flowing right back into politicians' pockets. So to get justice, we have to get those people out of Washington. And that's not revenge. That is what certain people have coming their way. But none of this has been easy on anybody. We were never told it would be, as a matter of fact. We were actually always told it would be difficult, tough, a struggle. And it's been that way for pretty much everyone. It's been a struggle for the R's and a struggle for the D's. It's even been a bigger struggle for maybe those whose implicit bias kind of already knew the R's and the D's were essentially all on the same side in D.C., and it's their side, not ours. But that struggle, it had to happen on both sides. After all, in Luke 17, the most published book of all time, it reminds us that brighter times are ahead. We will be saved. There is a heaven to look forward to. But even the God-man must first, and I quote, suffer greatly and be rejected by this generation. It's the beauty of how our implicit bias thinks we can come together. We're all rejects. We're all messed up. We're all not part of the club which exists in D.C. And the fact that we are all rejects, that is what brings us together and to the bit of division that's out there, and it's good. See, the rejects, we're all together on these things. Food needs to be fixed. So does the media. Government needs to be overhauled. But some are squealing as if they're about to be turned into bacon, sausage, Crisco, and pet food all at the same time. But the question is why? Why are some people so upset? Some may not share our point of view, but we believe that's a very small portion of people. We know this from the election, which was an unequivocal mandate. But even bigger, we know that some still listen to the media. But the ones telling the stories, the ones the most upset about what's happening, they're upset because they were in on it. They were part of the con. They were part of the scam. They know the gig is up. Doge is coming, and Doge is going to clean them out like a 2-week continual colonoscopy prep. And they're not happy about that. You? That us? That we might finally get a government of the people, by the people, and scariest of all for them, for the people. So cheers to you. Cheers to everyone. We'll imbibe, we'll discuss on this week's episode of Implicit Bias.